Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Jonathan and I am back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So if you're interested in watching me do this tag, stay tuned and let's get right into this video. So the mid-year book freakout tag, I've seen everybody and their mama do this tag, and honestly, I was scared. I was really scared to do this tag because I was looking at how many books everybody had read so far this year, and I felt like my reading has been like on and off. I haven't read as much as I did last year. Like last year around this time, I had probably read like 40-50 books. And you know, now I'm sitting at 37 for the year so far, and it doesn't feel that great compared to people that are reading like 20 books a month. However, I had to kind of like step back, look at, you know, everybody else and be like, you know, I can't hold myself to that standard. I've got a lot of stuff going on. You know, I'm not chilling reading books as much as I was last summer, you know, mid-pandemic, when I was just sitting at the house on summer vacation. So I kind of just had to reset my expectations for myself and feel comfortable with where I'm at reading so far and just go ahead and do it. And also I finished 2 books. I'm on my 3rd within 24 hours. So, I'm excited. Like, I feel pumped up about reading right now. I think that I'm back. So I feel good. So we're just gonna get into this tag. I'll put in the description box who created the tag because I was trying to find out who it was. And I think that Jesse from Bow Ties and Books put it in their bio. So I'll just copy and paste that information because I feel like that's the most reliable. Okay? So this tag has questions about my reading so far this year, and everybody's have been really great. I've really been enjoying watching everybody's mid-year book and freakout tags. So I'm gonna stop talking and let's actually get into this tag. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2021. And so I literally grabbed a bunch of books. I looked at the questions, grabbed a bunch of books that could kind of fit in with these questions, and so they're all laid out. And so I'll probably be like reaching over and looking at my bookshelves to pick some of these books. But I will say that the best, I would have to pick 2. I would definitely have to pick 2 best books that I've read so far in 2021. And the first would be My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwwaite. That was a book that I read towards the beginning of the year, I feel like. And it was one of the Smart Brown Girl book club picks. I was like, this book sounds cool. I saw it. I had gotten it from the library. I don't own my own copy. I need to get my own copy because it's a book that I just want to keep on my bookshelf. Probably something that you can read just kind of whenever, when you're in the mood for something that's you know, really fast paced, that's interesting. And the book is just about a woman, and her sister calls her every single time she has killed someone. Her sister has kind of had this habit of killing her boyfriends. And so the main character, she ends up cleaning up her sister's messes, and it kind of gets really deep when her sister becomes interested in the doctor who the main character is actually in love with. So, great book. That book was just so good. I love just reading, and I love just reading it and kind of just like feeling like I'm on a roller coaster the entire way through that entire book. So that was a really enjoyable read. It wasn't too deep. Definitely did cover some issues that, you know, would be a good place for discussion. It would be a good book for like a book club to read. And the other book that I literally have been recommending to everyone, and I've been trying to get my mom to read it, and but she's currently reading The Vanishing Half. I got a copy for one of my closest friends, and that is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. And this was just such a good collection of short stories, and it's what I want from collections of short stories, where every single story is solid, every single story really brings you in, every single story is super well written. Even like the ones that are a little bit shorter than others, they all felt like my favorites. I did have personal favorites, but I feel like you could tell anybody a story within this collection to read and they would absolutely love it. And just, I love Black Southern writers, and Deesha Philyaw just does an amazing job of writing just amazing, captivating Black women characters. And so yeah, I absolutely love this. And also, this is like not one of the big publishers. It was West Virginia University Press. So if you're looking for a book that's not from like Penguin and all of them, and you just really want to support a writer in their debut collection, definitely support Deesha Philyaw and keep recommending this to people and buy this book and talk about this book because it was great. Okay, question number 2 is best sequel you've read so far in 2021. So I don't really read a lot of series. I'm not a big series person. I need to get into some of like the more popular series that people have been talking a lot about. But series are just not my thing. But I guess this kind of counts because it's a part of a series, but I skipped the first one. So I would have to say that Take a Hint, Dani Brown is, I would say it's in my top 5 books that I've read in 2021 so far, because it was just such an enjoyable read. And it's, of course, a part of the Brown Sisters series, where you've got Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and Act Your Age, Eve Brown. And then you've got Take a Hint, Dani Brown. And so I really enjoyed Take a Hint, Dani Brown. It kind of brought me back, from a little bit of a slump, and it was just a thoroughly enjoyable read. This is going to be one where I'm definitely going to be reaching for a lot of books, okay? So question number 3 is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. And unfortunately, since I started working at a bookstore part-time, and also, the whole booktube thing, I've been getting ARCs and review copies of books, and so it's kind of stressful having all of these books at my disposal, but not having time to read them. So new releases I haven't read yet. So let's see. In terms of new releases, I would have to say I've been planning on reading these for a while, but Of Women in Salt by Gabriel Garcia. Whenever I see this, I keep thinking it's Gabriel Garcia Marquez, but it's not. So this is a book that Roxane Gay did the blurb for, and I whenever I see Roxane Gay does a lot of blurbs for books. But when I saw her name on the back of it, I was like, okay, you got me. And it says, in present-day Miami, Jeanette is battling addiction. Daughter of Carmen, a Cuban immigrant, she is determined to learn more about her family history from her reticent mother and makes the snap decision to take in the daughter of a neighbor detained by ICE. Carmen, still wrestling with the trauma of displacement, must process her difficult relationship with her own mother while trying to raise the wayward Jeanette. Steadfast in her quest for understanding, Jeanette travels to Cuba to see her grandmother and reckon with secrets from the past destined to erupt. From 19th century cigar factories to present-day detention centers, from Cuba to Mexico, Of Women in Salt is a kaleidoscopic portrayal of betrayals, personal and political, self-inflicted, and those done by others, that have shaped the lives of extraordinary women. A haunting meditation on the choices of mothers, the legacy of the memories they carry, and the tenacity of women who choose to tell their stories despite those who wish to silence them. This is more than a diaspora story. It is a story of America's most tangled, honest human roots. So it sounds super interesting. I'm excited to read this. It sounds like it'll be like like one of those more emotional reads that I definitely enjoy. Oh yeah, this already came out. It came out in April. So I definitely plan on reading this soon. Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers also have an arc of this. With her newly completed PhD in astronomy in hand, Grace Porter goes on a girls trip to Vegas to celebrate. She's a straight A, work through the summer, certified high achiever. She is not the kind of person who goes to Vegas and gets drunkenly married to a woman whose name she doesn't know, until she does exactly that. This one moment of departure from her stern ex-military father's plans for her life has Grace wondering why she doesn't feel more fulfilled from completing her degree. Staggering under the weight of her parents' expectations, a struggling job market, and feelings of burnout, Grace flees her home in Portland for a summer in New York with the wife she barely knows. In New York, she's able to ignore all the constant questions about her future plans and falls hard for her creative and beautiful wife, Yuki Yamamoto. But when reality comes crashing in, Grace must face what she's been running from all along, the fears that make us human, the family scars that need to heal, and the longing for connection, especially when navigating the messiness of adulthood. So, recent college grad, drunk marriage in Vegas, queer relationship. Morgan Rogers is queer and Black. This was one that I was really excited about, and I've seen people talking about it, and it came out in February. But still haven't gotten to it. All of these Morgans were releasing books this year, and so I'm like all over the place with these names and like the last names. But Morgan Jerkins, Call Baby, I heard a lot of people talking about this book, and I want to read it at some point. Last but not least, and I've seen, oh my gosh, everybody was doing the blurbs for this and talking about this book, and I've seen author discussions with this author of Milk, Blood, Heat, and I do not want to butcher her name. Dantiel W. Moniz. And so this book, set among the cities and suburbs of Florida, each story in Milk, Blood, Heat delves into the ordinary worlds of young girls, women, and men who find themselves confronted by extraordinary moments of violent personal reckoning. These intimate portraits of people and relationships scour and soothe and blast a light on the nature of family, faith, forgiveness, consumption, and what we may or may not owe one another. A 13-year-old meditates on her sadness and the difference between herself and her white best friend when an unexpected tragedy occurs. A woman recovering from a miscarriage finds herself unable to let go of her daughter, whose body parts she sees throughout her daily life. A teenager resists her family's church and is accused of courting the devil. Servers at a supper club cater to the insatiable cravings of their wealthy clientele, and two estranged siblings take a road trip with their father's ashes and are forced to face the troubling reality of how he continues to shape them. Wild and subversive, spiritual and seductive, Milk, Blood, Heat forms an Ouroboros of stories that bewitch with their truth, announcing the arrival of a bright new literary star. And so it looks like this is a collection of short stories. I'm excited because I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I've seen authors that I really respect talk about how much they love this book and how much they were excited about this book. So I'll get to it eventually. In terms of my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year, I've got two, and I have an arc of both of them. I have an arc of both of my most anticipated releases. And so the first one is The Love Songs of W.E.B. DuBois. Y'all, this book is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And this comes out it comes out at the end of this month. So hopefully I've got this video up before it comes out. So this is by Honoree, Fannone, Jeffers, and it says the great scholar W.E.B. Du Bois once wrote about the problems of race in America and what he called double consciousness, a sensitivity that every African American possesses in order to survive. Since childhood, Ailey Pearl Garfield has understood Du Bois's words all too well. Bearing the names of two formidable Black Americans, the revered choreographer Alvin Ailey and her great-grandmother Pearl, the descendant of enslaved Georgians and tenant farmers, Ailey carries Du Bois's problem on her shoulders. Ailey is reared in the North And in the city, Ailey is reared in the north in the city, but spends summers in the small Georgia town of Chickasida, where her mother's family has lived since their ancestors arrived from Africa in bondage. From an early age, Ailey fights a battle for belongings that's made all the more difficult by hovering trauma and the whispers of women, her mother, Belle, her sister, Lydia, and a maternal line reaching back 2 centuries that urge Ailey to succeed in their stead. To come to terms with her own identity, Ailey embarks on a journey through her family's past, uncovering the shocking tales of generations of ancestors, indigenous, black, and white, in the Deep South. In doing so, Ailey must learn to embrace her full heritage, a legacy of oppression and resistance, bondage and independence, and cruelty and resilience that is the story and the song of America itself. So this is something that I am very excited about. I think it actually has the date. Let's see. On this paper. This comes out on the 27th. Hopefully that date is still accurate. But super excited about this. This is a thick book. I plan on starting this within the next couple of days. It is, child. It's 768 pages. So we'll get to it. Second one, y'all, I am so excited about this one. And, you know, I had a copy of the first one. I let my friend borrow it and she lost it. However, I just want to let everybody know that I did record this video prior to seeing all of the things that have come to light about this particular author. I'm extremely disappointed to see that Benjamin Alire Sáenz has said some extremely transphobic things, and you know, I am not going to be a person that's going to say what is and is not transphobic. I'm just listening to all of the trans voices that have been speaking out and have confronted him and have addressed these issues. And so if you don't know what's going on, definitely go look it up. I'm still deciding whether or not I will move forward with reading this, and you know, whether or not I will do a review. We'll see what goes on with him moving forward. But I am extremely disappointed at the things that have come to light, particularly about this author, and also some passages from the original novel, which I did not notice when I first read the book around 2015, 2016. So yeah, just wanted to make sure that I addressed that. Aristotle and Dante Discovers the Secrets of the Universe, that came out years ago, and everybody's been waiting for the sequel, which is Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World, okay? So in Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, 2 boys in a border town fell in love. Now they must discover what it means to stay in love and build a relationship in a world that seems to challenge their very existence. When Ari fell in love with Dante, something in him cracked open. Suddenly he finds himself reaching out to new friends, standing up to bullies of all kinds, and making his voice heard. And always there is Dante, dreamy, witty Dante, who can get on Ari's nerves and fill him with desire all at once. But when Ari is faced with a shocking loss, he'll have to fight like never to create a life that is truly, joyfully his own. And so this book comes out in October of 2021. Y'all, I gotta reread the original. I have to reread the first one, and then I will get into this, and y'all will definitely get a review, because this, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, I read it during college, and I just fell in love with that book. It was so beautiful. I actually in one of my education classes, we ended up doing this project where we created a playlist for one of our books, and I created a playlist for that book. So when I'm gonna create another playlist for this one. Expect that. I'm holding myself to it. So y'all hold me accountable also. So I'll do like a playlist for this one, and then I still have my playlist from Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. But I'm so excited. The first one was such a beautiful book, and I expect nothing less for the sequel. Hey, my biggest disappointment, y'all gonna be mad. My biggest disappointment was Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. And So I did a review of this on Goodreads, and I was really frustrated with this book for a number of reasons. And so I will link my Goodreads review down below. But there were a lot of things that frustrated me about this book. And it was sort of after I had done a lot of reflection about the hate you give in general, which I did a reflection on a video discussing that book. But it's kind of just like, I don't think that this book was necessary. I don't think that the story was very well put together. I was frustrated with the characters. I was frustrated with kind of how there was like a random coming out moment thrown into this book that I didn't feel was done really well. It was also written in AAVE, which, you know, I think that you have to do with intention. You have to do well. You have to really know what you're doing and be consistent, because African American vernacular English is not just a thing. It is a language. And it has structure, and there are people that study this language and understand it, and it just kind of threw me off because it wasn't done very well. And so I was very disappointed with this book. I was very, very disappointed with Concrete Rose, and I struggled reading it, and it took me so much longer than I thought it would to finish, than I really thought it would when I finish this book. And I had just finished up reading The Hate U Give again with my students, and Concrete Rose let me down so much. And so if you want to see like more of my in-depth thoughts, because I'm probably just rambling, because like it's all coming back to me, my frustration from this book. But yeah, this was my biggest disappointment. My biggest surprise. The book that surprised me the most would probably be Just As I Am by Cicely Tyson. I'm not a big celebrity memoir person. I've gotten a couple others. I have Andre Leon Talley's memoir, The Chiffon Trenches, which I plan on reading. I want to read it before the end of this year. And there are a couple of others that I've been meaning to pick up, that I've kind of started but haven't finished. But this was so well written, and it shed so much light on Cicely Tyson's life. It shed so much light on just the entertainment industry, the Black entertainment industry, the lives of Black actors, just Black actors hanging out with each other and the community that they built, and the Black community in Harlem, and all of these different things. And I just thought that this was a beautifully written memoir. I love the cover. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I loved this book. I absolutely loved this book. I also did a review on Just As I Am, if you want to check that out. My favorite new author, Deesha Philyaw. Y'all, I follow her on Twitter, and I love her tweets. I love how she interacts with other Black authors. The kind of the discussions that she has with like Kiesa Layman, and just like all my favorite Black Southern writers. Like the way that they just interact, and just all the Black writers, the Black writers that are kind of mutuals with each other on Twitter. Like, I've been addicted to just watching their tweets and retweeting everything that they tweet, because like their community is just absolutely beautiful. But Deesha Philyaw, I'm so excited to see what she does next. If she writes another collection of short stories, I'll be here for it. If she writes a full-length novel, I will be the first one to pick it up. So yeah, Deesha Philyaw is definitely one of my new favorites. Newest fictional crush. I don't get into crushing on fictional characters in books. A lot of the books that I read, some of the characters are really trash, especially the men. So I don't know. Or my newest favorite character, I can say, would probably be Dani Brown. I was able to identify with Dani Brown a lot, and I just loved her character and who she was and how complex she was and her emotions and, you know, how she felt about relationships and eventually kind of finding love. And, you know, Dani, I'm gonna be like you. I'm gonna be like you. She was a professor, y'all. That's in the long term. You know, eventually I do want to teach a couple college classes. You know, I hope to be a professor one day. But yeah, Dani Brown. I absolutely love Dani Brown. A book that made me cry. I get emotional very easily, I will say. But a book that really did it for me. Like, it had me emotional. It's written in verse, and it is Punching the Air, by Ibi Zoboi, and Yusuf Salam of the Exonerated Five. And this book, it's about this young man, and he ends up getting in an altercation, and he ends up being sent to prison. And so this book really, it covers like the school to prison pipeline. It covers the way that, you know, a lot of educators fail Black students, you know, which hit really hard as an educator. It talks about, you know, it covers prison abolition, you know, and explicitly you have a character who is a prison abolitionist who works with young men in prison within this book. It's written in verse, and the poems in this book and the illustrations, like, the illustrations are beautiful. You know, the way that they sort of add to the poems, the way that it just flows, and every single poem hits. Every single poem in this hits. And so I had to close it for like 5 minutes because I ended up opening it right back up and just flying back through the book. And I sobbed, y'all. This book really did it for me. And, you know, I think that everybody needs to pick this up. I think educators need to pick this up. I think that, you know, activists need to pick this up. Anybody that's an inspiring activist, I think, needs to pick this up. I think that, you know, everybody needs to pick up Punching the Air because it was such a beautifully written book. And it had its really tender moments, and, you know, it just, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Books that made me happy. Some of these questions had me thinking, do I really read books that are that depressing? I read a lot of very emotional books. I would say Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This was a really enjoyable book that made me smile. I don't know. Books that, did a book make me feel good other than that? Dani Brown, Take a Hint, Dani Brown, of course. I mentioned that book a lot. But yeah, I would say that those definitely made me happy. They had elements of joy. I think they picked me back up. Not that I've been reading books that are super depressing, but I think that, like, in terms of, I've read some inspirational books. Books that have kind of lit a fire under my ass to, like, do things and move forward. But in terms of joy, in terms of happiness, I'm not sure. Long Division by Kiese Layman. That book was entertaining. That book was, it made me laugh. I think that it did bring me joy at certain points. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Read this last year, like end of last year, but I bought because it didn't come out until January, but The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. Gorgeously written book. And I love the cover. The cover brings me peace. The cover calms me down. I think that this book, whenever I think about it, it stirs something a little bit in my spirit. I would say that this is the most beautiful book that I've bought in 2021. And what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There's so many. There's so many. So I will say, I'm gonna just pick some. Books that I need to read by the end of the year. I would say, first of all, I need to read On Earth We Were Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. This is a book that everybody's talked about, and I'm just out of the loop of, and so I can't really be in discussion about this book. But it's, you know, it's kind of one of those books that I've seen like in stacks and different things with like Memorial and The Prophets, and Heavy, and like all of my other like favorite books. And so I've heard that this book is like one of the most beautiful things that most people have like ever read. So I really want to read this, and this is an arc, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. And the book came out in like 2019, y'all. The book came out in 2019. I need to read B-Boy Blues, and I think that it's been like, there's supposed to be a movie that's made, that's going to be made about this, and I think that Jussie Smollett is handling the production for this movie, and I'm excited, y'all. James Earl Hardy has written a bunch of Black queer books, stories that really center queer Black men, and so I've heard so much about this, and I have to read it. Also need to read Just Mercy. I saw the movie in theaters, but I still haven't read the book, and I feel lost in discussion when people bring up this book, so I need to get on it very quickly. Read all of Hanif Abdurraqib's books. I have A Little Devil in America, which I need to read. And then Go Ahead in the Rain, I need to read that. They Can't Kill Us Till They Kill Us. He actually signed all of the copies of, I have 2 of his books of poetry, and I think, and I do have a copy of Go Ahead in the Rain, but this is his latest, and I follow him on Instagram, and I also follow him on Twitter, and everything he posts on Instagram, everything he tweets, he's you know, he's a poet, he writes essays, he's a cultural critic, and he talks about music, he talks about film, he talks about everything. And so I need to really get into his work. He is a Columbus author, he is a Columbus native. So, you know, he's in my city, I need to get on it. And yeah, so all of Hanif Abdurraqib's books are on like my list. What else do I need to read by the end of the year? And then I kind of want to end this, and I've seen a couple of other people do this, end this by just shouting out some of my like favorite booktubers. So this video, you know, is gonna be a little bit long. Reviews may vary, okay? If y'all have not watched her reviews over at Reviews May Vary, her reviews are so great. And honestly, when I watch her videos, they bring me a lot of joy because her voice is very calm. She drinks a lot of tea, and she does these tea in a book videos, which literally, like, I will sit there like during my planning period. Don't tell anybody. I'll sit there during my planning period, and it'll just be playing in the background. And I love when she talks about books, and the videos are great, and she deserves to have more subscribers on her channel. So everybody go check out Reviews May Vary because her channel is great. Okay, y'all, so there are these 2 women that have a YouTube channel, and it's called Plots with a Twist. And it's a channel that is run by 2 Black women, and their videos are great. They have their wine, they sip their wine, they do book reviews, they talk about what they've been reading. They've done a couple of like the tags that I've really enjoyed. And I just really enjoy just kind of how like they read when they want to read, and they read books that they want to read. and they're very honest with their book reviews, and it's just an entertaining channel. And so, you know, I might have to start incorporating wine into my channel somehow, just inspired by their channel. And last but not least, Shane at Luxurious Blue. I thoroughly enjoy very realistic booktubers, ones that are not kind of just like, yeah, I read 100 books in a month. They are always just very, very honest with their reviews, very honest with their reading and how they're feeling and just talking about books. And so I really enjoyed Shane's video about The Prophets, because he was very honest about, you know, how he felt about the book. And I can't even be mad, you know, as somebody that really did enjoy the book. I enjoy seeing somebody else kind of challenge how I feel in a way. And just the way that he talks about books, and he reads Black books, books by Black authors, and books by Black queer authors, and just, you know, it's just honestly very, very funny, very, very funny, very entertaining, and also very honest in terms of his book reviews. So everybody subscribe to all of the channels that I have talked about. And okay, so this is my book freakout tag, my mid-year book freakout tag. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing me talk about these books that I've been reading this year. And wow, now I'm just, I've got to finish some books. I really do have to finish some books. I need to get on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you press that subscribe button. Make sure you press that thumbs up button. And let me know what you have been reading lately. Let me know what you plan to read in this second half of 2021. And I'll catch you all in the next one. And always remember that you are loved.